The corpus callosum is divisible into four parts. You've got the rostrum of the corpus callosum down here, the genu of the corpus callosum right here, and it's called a genu because that's Latin for knee, so it looks like a bent knee. And then you've got the body of the corpus callosum through here. And then finally you've got the splenium in the back, the splenium of the corpus callosum. Now the colossal sulcus is the valley that follows right around the corpus callosum, so that's your colossal sulcus. The cingulate gyrus is right above the colossal sulcus, right there. And then above the cingulate gyrus, you've got the cingulate sulcus, which we've talked about before, and using it to find where your central sulcus is. And then the cingulate sulcus turns into the marginal sulcus right here, where it has this kind of V shape, where it has that steep upward turn. This is going to be your marginal sulcus. Then you've got the perihippocampal gyrus, and you can see it kind of wrapping around the midbrain right here. And so if we're looking at it from the ventral view, it's down there. If we're looking from the mid-sagittal, we trace it like this. After the after the perihippocampal gyrus, you've got your superior frontal gyri, which are right here on the brain. I'm just kidding. So here are your superior frontal gyri. We're just looking at that from the mid-sagittal view. Then you've got cuneus, which is going to be this wedge shape right here. And you're going to come from the calcarine sulcus up to the occipitotemporal sulcus right here. So the calcarine sulcus divides the cuneus from the lingual gyrus. And then the occipitotemporal sulcus divides the cuneus from the precuneus.
It's a general area.
Yeah, these are more like regions than structures, but we could call it a structure as well. Then after your precuneus, you've got your marginal sulcus dividing the precuneus from the paracentral lobule. Collateral sulcus we've all seen before. It's still going to be this one that goes right around, so you can kind of see it through the mid-sagittal right there. And then the occipitotemporal gyrus, however you want to pronounce it, it's going to be this one right here, and you can kind of see it from this mid-sagittal view. After the occipitotemporal gyrus, you've got the body of the fornix. And so this is their body of fornix, and it connects this is the hypothalamus to the hippocampus, yeah. So you've got the body of fornix connecting the hypothalamus to the hippocampus, which is going to be back further in there. But you don't need to know the hippocampus for this place. After the body of fornix, you're going to have the anterior commissure right here. And that's also opposite posterior commissure, which is right there. After that, you've got your superior and inferior colliculi. So the superior colliculus is orienting movement of head and eyes, and then the inferior colliculus is auditory processing. And they make up the tectum of the midbrain. This is the tegmentum of the pons, and then the basilar part of the pons. So in here, we've got we're going to look at some of these structures in here now. So you've got the septum pellucidum right here, which is a membrane that separates your lateral ventricles. And then behind the septum pellucidum, there's a space, and that's your lateral ventricle. So if we say name the structure, we're looking at the septum pellucidum, and if you look at the space, if we say name this space, we're looking for the lateral ventricle. Now, out of the lateral ventricles, there's something called the interventricular foramen. And so there's a hole that's about right here on most models that allows fluid to move from the lateral ventricles down into here. And that's because this space in here is going to be the third ventricle. And so if we say space, we're looking for third ventricle, but there are also some structures that we see in here too. So you've got the hypothalamus here, you've got the optic chiasm there, you've got the hypothalamic sulcus right here, and then you've got the thalamus itself. So the brown part is the interthalamic adhesion, and the pink part down here, that's going to be your thalamus. This pink part right here, this kind of looks like a comet. This head of the comet, that's going to be the pineal body. And then off of the pineal body, you've got this tail of a comet, and that's your stria medullaris thalami. And then right here, you've got the cerebral aqueduct. After the cerebral aqueduct, you go down into the fourth ventricle right here. And so in the fourth ventricle, you've also got the structure right here lining the upper part of the medulla, and that's called the superior medullary velum. And then back in here, you've got another foramen, another hole called the foramen of Luschka. So also, and then you've got the pyramids down here. The inferior temporal sulcus you can still see down here. And I think that's everything.
Woo.